we're going to miss our model.
Yeah, I mean,
you can also turn off the camera. It's okay.
Indeed.
Now. Yeah, now we are in YouTube. We're going to miss our model. Yes, we are in YouTube now, but I'm going to turn off the sound because there is a delay.
Indeed.
Now. And you can, if you want, to open the link to YouTube, which is in Intrepids, and see what's happening, because one of the targets of this meeting is to check the technical issues.
Yeah. Right.
So I recommend you to do it.
Okay. Go.
And it's something normal. It's very common. So it's important to turn off the sound in the YouTube streaming in order to be able to understand everything without without echo, because everything we say is going to be repeated by YouTube after a delay of 20 to 45 seconds. Okay, first question is, do you prefer to explain why we are here, the reasons we are here, or do you prefer that I give you some considerations about the idea? You tell me.
About the what?
About the idea of the program.
Right. Yeah, I'm easy. I have no preference.
Okay, let me see how I can share. I did my homework. I prepared some PowerPoint, and it may help us to, to start. Let me see how I can share with you my screen. And I'm going to repeat this question. Does someone know how to there is it. There it is. I wonder if now you can see the PowerPoint.
Yep.
Yeah, just about.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Where's that?
That's the first slide I prepared about this program, and the reason I call it Intrepid is because I really admire you guys if you want to talk about such a difficult issue, and because this is related also to the fact that, as you can see here, is where a group of people diagnosed with mental health condition express their views on any matter. And that's brings two important questions about the name of the program and about how we call ourselves. My idea is not taking part of the transmission. As you know, I am a doctor. I don't want you to be biased about clinical issues. And we can talk about this now, or if you want, we can move forward to the next slide, which would be the targets.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do it.
So we have health-related communicational and financial targets. And the most important one, I think, or maybe you are interested about that, it's about the fact that we may be able to get money from it. I think we can apply to funding. I don't think that we are going to get artistic funding, but we may be able to get health-related funding. And you know, I work for the NHS, and maybe that's the reason it would be interesting to have me here.
Right.
In order to apply for funding. I don't know, maybe I am wrong. You tell me about that. Maybe it's better that
it's definitely worth a try, man. It's definitely worth a try.
yeah, we should try to get some funding. And those are the objectives. It's very difficult to classify them because they are very related to each other. As you can read, it would have been interesting to start our program at the beginning of the pandemic. And maybe you are happy about to move forward because maybe we can experience now a kind of program. I'm talking about the COVID and the impact on people who have mental illnesses, or as you want to call it. And well, the second point is about talking what we think about everything, how it can help to express ourselves, and then it has social objectives like battling discrimination, try to create a supportive network. And I think that the most attractive target for me is to create a view which is not really appreciated too much. I mean, people who have
what's that last bit?
to create a view, an outlook or perspective which is not usually appreciated. Because you know, people who have mental illnesses are constantly discriminated. They are not able to produce financially convenient products. And even the etymology of mad is being foolish in the German Gaelan or something like that. Well, the topics have to be decided before, For
Sure.
instance, today we can talk about the topics we would like to talk in
Yep.
the program. And I repeat something which is important: is how do we feel when they classify us, or they put names like depressed, schizophrenic, bipolar, etc. And then I would like to, this is another topic. I mean, it would be interesting to contrast the definition of society, the clinical definition, and our own definition about ourselves.
Right.
Exchange experiences about treatments,
Right.
pandemic again. The organization is what I mentioned, one meeting to talk about what we are going to talk in the transmission. And we all know the technical aspects. Marcello is the one who is going to stream, so he has a very good broadband. I am taking advantage to introduce him. He has been involved in international productions for TV and films, and in addition, he is a graduated, and he is now working on servers and organizing a large network for institutions. So he combines knowledge from both image and digital. It's a very rare combination. Well, now it's your turn. I finish.
Well, what kind of yeah, I mean, is there a topic to start off with, or?
I think the first thing I must say is to apologize about my accent, my pronunciation. So please feel free to ask me to repeat if you don't understand.
That's all clear. All clear.
Thank you, Alistair. That's very nice from you. I know you are being very kind and generous. I feel touched.
No, it's all coming through loud and clear, so all good.
Tony, I think that we didn't have too much time to talk. I am a healer, so I work for the NHS now in the vaccination program.
Right.
I feel we made beautiful stuff with Marcello in the past. And of course, he has a very different level than me. And I am also writing a book for the famous publisher Routledge about criminal female teenagers, which is very interesting. It's going to be published at the end of the year.
What was that? Criminal?
Female teens.
Female?
Teenagers.
Oh, right.
Adolescents.
Oh, okay.
It was a very beautiful experience because I had to adapt a scientific text to a dramatic form. It's my first experience to be published in English in fiction, and I have to wear the skin of this pathetic life of teenagers. That's very nice. That was very nice. But that has nothing to do with this. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So Raj asked if what would be the topic. We can start with this interesting topic, which is the pandemic. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that'll be a good place to start. I mean it's a very broad area. Mental, personal history of mental health. I wouldn't know where to begin. Obviously it's an entire journey. It's an entire journey. So yeah, I think the pandemic might be a good place to warm up.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
I mean,
Raj,
yeah, I mean,
why and what about the pandemic you would like to talk? Let's talk about
mean-
our personal experiences with the pandemic. I think it can be interesting.
I mean, yeah, I mean, this is gonna sound perverse. But
I like that.
sorry.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, because I suffer from anxiety, the pandemic's kind of taken a load off my back. Like, I've been buffered because of the pandemic. My anxiety has been less
Yeah.
because I don't have to go out and socialize and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's very perverse, because obviously it's caused a lot of hassle, like immense hassle to a lot of people.
No, I understand that, Raj. I mean, I mean, knowing you before the pandemic, I appreciate when you come into town, you set yourself an amount of time before you had to go.
Yeah.
Is that because you feel claustrophobic around other people, or is it because it's all about you being in control of this? You being in control.
It's probably both. It's probably both.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had a withdrawn aspect to my personality. I tend to be more comfortable.
Yeah.
When either generally by myself.
Yeah. 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 No, I can associate with that. I must admit.
Raj, that's a very common issue. I mean, anxiety is something that everybody has felt. I mean, and what about your from the perspective of someone who has a mental disorder? Do you think that it increases it? Do you have more
I think it would.
crisis, less crisis?
I think it would depend on the way the person approached their mental illness in a general way. I mean, if a person sees themselves as a victim to mental illness, then I think the pandemic may be more adverse. Whereas if a person sees mental health issues as a challenge, then I think that the pandemic could only contribute to the joy of taking up a challenge. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Yes. I mean, do you have any? It's yeah. I do feel yeah. I feel the same really about myself. And do you have any personal discoveries that you wouldn't have had without the pandemic about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I think it's added to a deeper appreciation of life. Because obviously, when a person doesn't have to go to work every day from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, they're confronted with the raw nakedness of existence and life. And a lot of people are blessed by the fact that their jobs protect them from that reality of life. I mean, I've met a lot of people who said that when they've been out of work, the first 2 weeks have been very, very entertaining and very chilled out, just sitting in front and watching the telly and stuff. But after those couple of weeks, they begin to get really, really irate.
Mhm.
And having a job, the job may not be great, but it definitely protects a person from a kind of despair, or a violence, or a kind of raw aggression of emptiness and nihilism.
It's can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
just going
Yes.
to say, I mean, what I've seen with people is, you were mentioning people are irate, Raj, yeah?
Yeah.
I found people despondent, yeah? It's like this pandemic's come along, there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
It's a sort of despondency, if you need to get anything done, nothing can get done. And it's been used as an excuse to sort of, if you need something, oh, you can't, it's this virus.
Yeah.
The virus is used as an excuse for people not to do anything. And I think that does make people, as you say, irate, because people use it, oh, here's an excuse, another excuse, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
Right.
It's just that, I mean, I don't know if people have just used it to say that's it, my life's on hold, and they feel the victim, or they feel they don't, they're convincing themselves they can't do anything. But you can't put me and my wife have said, put your life on hold. Certain things you have to sacrifice, but there's still stuff you can do. Creativity. I've always spoke to Raj that it's been a good thing to do, is try and be creative during this time. Try new things, make things.
Yeah, creativity is the big one. I was reading an article in the Financial Times, and it was saying that one of the positive things about the pandemic is forcing people to take their creative potential more seriously.
Yeah.
It's forcing people to recognize that life isn't just about work. It's not just about the 9-to-5 drill.
No.
There's other stuff in life to rejoice in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the
sorry, yeah. Yes.
I was just going to say the negative aspects is people have to confront an aspect of life that they don't normally have to confront, but with the pandemic, they're forced to confront it.
Do you think it's brought people together or pushed people apart?
I reckon with families, like take for example families who are living in council like blocks of flats and stuff. I mean, I reckon both, man. I reckon it's brought families closer, but it's also, I can imagine like mothers getting really, really pissed off with their kids, and kids getting really fucking frustrated with being locked in. I mean, my sister in Ireland, luckily she lives in the countryside, so
she can escape.
yeah, and the kids can escape.
That's good.
I think in terms of mental health, it certainly made me a lot more despondent. It's like, in normal times, it's a struggle to do things.
Yeah, man.
In coronavirus times, I just can't be bothered to do anything.
What was that last bit?
What's that?
What was the last bit you said?
I said the last thing is like, in coronavirus times, I can't be bothered to do anything.
Yeah.
And Tony, do you think that because I felt that, and I wonder if the reason why I tend to do nothing is because of the constant presence of death. You know, the
What was
idea
that?
that
Say that again, William.
That's right.
death, you know, the
Yeah.
idea that, yeah, the fact that we can die, so what's the point? Everybody is depressed, and that's the way it affects me, you know, like, do you think that?
I don't think death has an issue for me, because people die. People die. They always have. They always will. I think the one that I find is the despondency is a sense of powerlessness.
Mm.
You know, powerlessness. What can I do?
Mm.
You know, I personally, I don't fear death. I don't like suffering. I certainly don't like suffering, but death is never an issue.
Mm.
I know for some people, death is an issue, but for me, it's more suffering. And I can't watch the TV when these news, you know, the news comes on and it's another, whatever they call them, these news conferences. I can't watch that. You know.
Why not?
I think initially when, like the Prime Minister was on and he was telling us the situation, it's like, yeah, okay, you're telling us the situation. But it's almost like I can't watch it because it's like, you're not telling me anything new. I just want it to be over. Then we can get back to normal life. Because I know Raj was saying, you know, sometimes people feel more connected or less connected. With the social anxiety, if it gets back to normal, then a lot of the mental health triggers for me will come back again. So it's actually having a nice break from a lot of the triggers that you get in normal times.
Yeah. It's strange. It's strange.
It is what it is, as they say. You know, I don't feel this. Initially I was very frustrated, as I think somebody was saying earlier. But I'm not frustrated now. I'm just despondent all the time. You know, until things change. Because I know you said people can be creative. I don't feel very creative at the moment. That's my take on it.
What about you, Alistair? Do you feel that the government is doing the correct thing? Do you think that, for instance, should people who have mental illnesses be at the top of the vaccination list? Do you think that, for instance? Yeah, that's a good question, I think.
Yeah.
So I asked two questions. Is the government doing the correct thing generally? And should vulnerable people, like people who suffer depression, schizophrenia, bipolarity, should be at the top of the vaccination list?
Yeah. I think, well, first I think the government are, I think the program rolling out the vaccine, I think it is good. You know, there's no protocol to this. Never been done modern day, so I think they're doing quite a good thing. I think mental illnesses, yes, I think various mental illnesses, they should be at the top. People who, you know, who need to interact with the environment, who need that, who would obviously without their routine that involves inside and outside, maybe it's people who are bipolar. Yeah, they should be near the top, but this is the protocol that it is, and you just have to get there. I mean, it's going very, very well. It's just a waiting game now, really. You know.
Have you been vaccinated?
No.
No. So I am the only one vaccinated then.
Oh, yeah.
I got my vaccination on Monday.
Are you
Monday.
Yeah.
Good. What about you, Tony? Have you
I
been
haven't been
vaccinated?
one yet. So I kind of think by the time they offer me one, the disease will all be over.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Raj,
It's-
Sorry.
are you getting it as what you said before? Because is it because of your other medication you're on?
Well, I was thinking this. I was speaking to my friend Pete. His wife, who's from Thailand, she's getting her vaccination soon as well. So Pete suggested it's either because of the medication or the fact that I'm from Indian descent. But my sisters haven't got any calls, so I figure it must be the medication.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's the possibility of getting COVID is very high if you have a mental illness.
Right.
I think it's maybe 20 times higher than normal.
Okay.
And what do you think? I think. Do you think that people who have mental illnesses have been shielded, have been protected? Should society do something else about it?
Well, if someone has like an antisocial personality thing, I think that has an effect. If someone is sociopathic, you know, it's there's some people it's like there's no disease, everything's wrong. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. I think they are definitely more likely to catch the disease and spread the disease if they don't believe there is a disease. There's a lot of people who don't believe, and they don't care. So if they don't care, they're not going to protect themselves, are they? That's with sociopathic.
Do you think that deniers are behaving like psychopathic people?
Who's that?
Deniers, you know, people who are the paranoids, people who think that this is a kind of bioterrorist event. Do you think it's
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I think if you think it isn't a danger, you're going to be a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people who are paranoid. They might hide away in bunkers, you know, that kind of stuff. So ironically, their paranoia has protected them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. So if you're sociopathic, unlucky. If you're paranoid, you're probably going to ironically do better.
Yeah.
In a kind of funny way. So
yeah.
Raj, you sent me a very interesting text that you have been writing. Do you think that the pandemic helps you to write this text?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, yeah, because I mean, as I was saying, I mean, without a job, a person has to confront life in a different way, and you know, you're either going to get destroyed by that and resort to hedonism, you know, drinking and doing drugs, or you're going to be more constructive about it, and you're going to I don't know, be meditating more or doing more exercise or keeping a journal, writing, reading more. I think it depends on a person's personality type.
Yes, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's great that you could link yourself to your life, to the to you know to your to the life side of your personality. And
Sorry?
Tony, you could live you could link yourself through the pandemic to your most creative side, to your most positive side, which is very interesting. It's not what Tony said, but I don't know if Tony, did you say that you are not very creative or that the pandemic
Yeah,
doesn't stimulate your creation in your field of work?
I need people to bounce off.
You need, that's interesting.
Yeah, because if I'm creative and I don't share that with somebody, I can't progress to the next level of the creativity.
Oh, okay.
And I need the feedback.
Yeah.
And then if there's no feeling in whether I'm writing something and I'm not getting any feedback, then I can't go forwards with it.
Yeah.
But what prevents you from sending your text to friends or critics or publishers?
What prevents me is that's not usually the way I do things. Usually it's with people I know face to face. You know, I mean, in some ways, with this pandemic, we're doing these video calls. I never did video calls before. This is like a new thing. I talk to my sister on the video calls. It's like, wow, we never did video calls before because we never needed to. But when it comes to creativity, there's that extra thing that I just can't get through video calls. You know, I have to be with a person in a cafe or a situation. It just doesn't work. Video calls for me in terms of creativity.
Yeah. What about you, Alistair? Sorry to interrupt you, Tony.
It's okay.
I sort of understand what Tony's saying, but I think that, I mean, it's like any situation where society's put under pressure, technology comes to the forefront. And I think a lot of people, including the elder generation, sort of,
Alistair, sorry to interrupt you. Would you mind approaching to your mobile closer to your mouth?
right.
Because
Okay.
there. Now the sound is better. So
Yeah. What I was saying, I mean, when society has sort of stressful situations like this pandemic, technology comes to the forefront, and I would say it's useful. I would say, you know, I feel connected with people, and I can share stuff. And I think even after the pandemic, this will carry on, because I think before the pandemic, this was just seen as a gimmick. But I think it's people are using it from day to day, and yeah. But I can see what Tony's saying, though. To get feedback from people, it's very difficult. But I think it's helped. I mean, can you imagine a pandemic without this? I think it would, even, you know, where you can't speak to people. I mean, yeah, it'd be phones, but can you imagine without this? It'd be probably even worse for people.
Oh, a lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
The visual connection is useful.
Yeah.
It's not as good as being in a cafe and socialising and all the background noise, but it's certainly better than just a phone.
Yeah.
So I think most people are using this medium.
Yeah.
And I think it's making the most of a bad situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well, that's what we are doing now. That's exactly what we are doing now.
Yeah.
However, I can't perceive, because I feel a bit sad maybe because of my own experience, but it's a very sad situation, is it? It's a very sad situation.
Yeah. It's not the choice. It's not being able to, it does make you appreciate things. When things are gone, it does make you appreciate them a lot more. And when it comes back, I think it's appreciating what you haven't got, I think is important. But yeah, no, it is. It's it's hard not seeing family or having the choice not to see them. It's it's.
It's not being able to do what you want when you want. Yeah. So,
Tony, sorry, I don't know if it's appropriate, but I do feel the need to ask you: is there something we can do to help you to overcome this limitation of the personal contact or the social instinct or whatever?
I meet people.
Are you meeting people?
I meet people.
So you have bubbles. You have bubble of protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that really is a lifesaver. It really is. I think it.
Do you trust them? Do you trust the people you meet?
Do I what?
Do you trust them? Do you feel that they are protecting you when you meet them? That they are taking care of themselves, of not getting the virus? Are you scared?
Oh, yeah. There are some people who I would say, as I said earlier, they don't believe, so they don't care. But I think generally people I meet are protecting themselves, following the rules. Generally, I would say. I know I additionally, when I'm out, I wear gloves as well as the mask. So yeah, I go a little bit further. So
okay, guys, we have still 14 minutes, and I need to ask you something about the way we should be called. I mean, because it's really, I mean, I do remember having a moment, a very difficult moment when I was young. I had an asthmatic crisis, and I remember to be called psychiatry. The nurses and the doctors, they called me a psychiatric patient, and I really felt terrible. Maybe they are right, but maybe I don't want to recognize it. But
I know for me, when I had psychosis, I didn't know what it was. Suddenly you have a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I think generally they do try and keep it very simple, so they can relate to the person they're trying to help. But I think when people it's like, right, you're using these words, bipolar or psychosis. Now I have to go away and find out what these words mean.
Yeah.
I never label myself with anything because I think it doesn't, I say this to a lot of people, there is more to you than just some label.
Very
No
true.
doubt, brother.
Very true. Yeah.
And I think that I mean, I don't focus on the label. I've done my own research.
Sorry. Finish, please.
Yeah,
finish. No, you finish.
Yeah, I did my own research into understanding why I had a breakdown. And it's taken years. It takes years and years to understand what happened in a single day. And I'm still learning. And for me, initially, as I think you said, it was very scary. It's like, whoa. But years later, and for me, it has taken years later, I've resolved so many.
Yeah. What did you get from your research? I mean, did you find your research helpful, appropriate?
Yeah. Well, for me, just to give you a little introduction, I was part of a sort of religious cult, and that led to me having a mental breakdown.
All right.
So I learned about religious cults. I learned about how sometimes people can have mental breakdowns because of that. And I've learned a lot through the process. But initially it was like, whoa, extremely confusing. But, you know, I can now talk to people, not that you meet that many people who've been in a religious cult, but I can talk to people now who are just starting this journey.
Yeah.
You know.
What about you, Alistair? What?
Well, me.
I mean, about the way they called you. You may be named or called or labeled. You know that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been like Tony. I suppose it's more anxiety. I had a bit of a breakdown 15 years ago, but that was, I think I would say it's because I'm probably scared of peers. I think putting peers' needs before mine, and wanting to be accepted, and it went too far. I had a bit of a breakdown. I saw a psychiatrist, and it was very helpful. And I think talking, you know, I spoke to Raj this week, and he was mentioning this group, and I sometimes I can be very hasty and forget the past, but after what Raj was saying, I think, well, it is what you are. You can't just hide what, you know, how you think. You can't brush it away and just stiff up a lip and all that stuff. So no, I think it's very good. So does that make sense? Yeah.
Mm.
What about you, Raj? What about the way they called you?
Sorry, what about the way
They called you, or they defined you, or they named you, or they
Yeah,
diagnosed you.
I have to definitely empathize with what Tony's saying, that a person's more than just a label. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a very interesting experience when I was in hospital in 2011, and I was talking to the psychiatrist, and I was saying I was expressing my concerns about medication. And the psychiatrist replied, "You have a very serious illness. You have paranoid schizophrenia." And when he said that, I felt my stomach turn, and I literally felt as if I was going to shit myself.
Mm.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, that was completely unexpected because you know I didn't really give two shits about having schizophrenia, but it was just the way he said. The way he said it was scary. It was very, very scary.
And what can you do about it?
Sorry?
And it's like when somebody says that, it's like, oh, what am I meant to do now then?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Because of course,
Yes.
how are you meant to understand what to do?
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been like I've heard some people say that a label can actually be helpful, and then I've heard people say that labels, you know, they're quite limited and a negative thing to have. I mean,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you
I mean,
feel like,
sorry?
did you feel when they said that, because obviously you know what you've had for like several years, and they said what they said, did you feel like, you know, in your head your conscience was putting you in that pigeonhole? You thought, Was it? Is that why it was such a shock? Because you can't, backed up in a corner, mentally speaking. Is that?
Yeah. That's a brilliant way to describe it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, instantaneously, I felt backed into a corner.
Yeah.
Do you think
It
that
was a claustrophobic.
Yeah, I bet.
yes, it's a very, very difficult and at the same time beautiful topic
Yes.
because I think that the social pressure is quite high, isn't it?
It's incredible. Yeah, it's
Because I
immense.
mean, I do remember, I knew it. I didn't have to be in the hospital, and I escaped. And I was right. I was right when I wasn't a doctor because I was very young, and I am right now as a doctor. I didn't have to be in the hospital. But it's because, I mean, when they call you, when they tell you you are a psychiatric patient, it's like I mean, everything you say is mad, isn't it? I mean, everything you ask, yeah, you are saying that because you are mad. You are asking
Pretty
that
much,
because
pretty
you are
much.
mad. So
Yeah,
if you like,
I mean, I can.
if you like a girl, you are mad. If you are looking
Yeah,
if you are applying for a job, you are mad. And so everything you do is mad. So what's happening here, isn't it?
It's true, man. It's true. I when I've been in hospital, all the other patients have similar attitudes. They're very paranoid and scared of the doctors. They're intimidated by these psychiatrists. They're skeptical. I mean, even personally, that there's aspects of my existence that I keep well away from telling the psychiatrists. I keep them completely private because I know that if I discuss them, even in the most rational way, the psychiatric attitude is detrimental to discussing these. I mean, I don't feel safe with a psychiatrist. I don't feel safe with. I feel safer with my friends than I do with a psychiatrist.
Well, they'll just.
Yeah, that's like what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, for me, initially, the psychiatry was really helpful. I was very lucky to have a psychiatrist that had a very gentle demeanor.
Right.
Came across very caring.
Yeah.
And that is what I needed at the time.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that caring demeanor. No
doubt.
Some people think after you've said a little thing, they know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas someone will let you talk. And of course, one of the things I realized a few years ago was no one who is a doctor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist has a magic wand that can be perfect. They don't have a magic wand to make your life, let's say, the way it was before you had a breakdown.
Yeah.
It would be nice if there was somebody who could magically make everything okay again. But
it can't.
It's like with this coronavirus, we are in a new situation. And you can fight against the situation or you can accept the situation.
Yeah.
It's something like that a bit.
Right.
Well, it's sorry, Alistair. Yeah,
I'm
something
sorry.
you want to say?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I have to go because I'm low on beans on my phone.
No, yes, I think it's time to finish. If you allow me, I want to express my gratitude. I think we had a beautiful conversation.
Yeah,
I think that in spite of our madness, we can contribute a lot. I think that maybe in the next program we can talk about how our mental issues affect our work, our creation. Because we were going in this direction, maybe we can move forward towards this topic if you are happy.
Nice.
No,
Sounds good.
and thanks, William, for setting this up. It's been very, very good, very useful.
The pleasure is all mine, guys.
Yeah,
Right, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.